Yes, it's time for another album ranking, and today we're diving into the discography of the progressive heavy metal band Nevermore. They were a driving force in the metal scene during the 90s and early 2000s, releasing 7 studio albums. A quarter of the band originated from the heavy metal band Sanctuary, for which I also did a ranking a few weeks ago. Warrell Dane and Jim Shepard are the founders of Nevermore. They formed the band in 1991 and released their first album under the name Nevermore in 1995. Warrell Dane and Jim Shepard were part of the iconic band Sanctuary, but the record label forced them to change the sound to a grungier sort of style, and disagreeing with the other band members, they split and curated Nevermore. In this new project, there were no boundaries. They were free to pursue the music they wanted to create. Jeff Loomis, who was also part of Sanctuary, a touring member, joined the band before the debut album. They secured a deal with Century Media Records. Nevermore is known for their progressive heavy metal sound. They're pretty fucking progressive heavy metal sound. Holy shit, some of these songs are fucking heavy. Warrell Dane uses less of his falsetto in this band compared to Sanctuary and their masterpiece album Refuge Denied. Instead, he employs more monotone vocals on Nevermore, occasionally throwing in these high falsettos, but not as good as the stuff you hear from fucking Refuge Denied, that's for sure. The overall sound is darker than that of Sanctuary, but they are still a great fucking band, and today we're ranking them. So let me know in the comments what your favorite Nevermore album is, and rank them below, and let's get started. In my opinion, the weakest Nevermore album is Enemies of Reality. Look, something has to come last, and this is the album I've listened to the least. Unfortunately, it just doesn't grab me like the other albums do. I find this album to be quite disjointed. While the production is punchy, it sounds too fucking clean, which is one of the main reasons I'm ranking it last. It still retains the Nevermore sound, but I just don't feel compelled to revisit it. By this point, Nevermore's sound was starting to feel a little bit repetitive, especially considering they had released Dead Heart in the Dead World just a few years earlier. Enemies of Reality feels like the, B-side version of that album. While it's still a good album, the band's sound was becoming tiresome. Additionally, Nevermore was only given $20,000 to make this album due to the ending of their contract with Century Media Records. They hired a budget producer who would work for that price, resulting in clean production that lacks the rawness and grit found in the earlier work. This ultimately contributes to this being the weakest album in Nevermore's discography, in my opinion. I don't think the songwriting is particularly impressive either. It's one of those albums I find hard to engage with again. I, Voyager is a hard-hitting song, and the first 2 tracks, Enemies of Reality and Ambivalent, feature some really cool solos. Hell, for the rest of the album, I find myself thinking, yeah, it's good, but I've heard this 1,000 times from Nevermore. The Obsidian Conspiracy, released in 2010, would sadly be the final album for Nevermore. Unfortunately, Warrell Dane passed away in 2017, so there could never be a reunion. However, there was a reunion with Sanctuary, which they released the album The Year the Sun Died in 2014. By the end of Nevermore's journey, there was also in a conflict within the band, as Jeff Loomis and Van Williams left after the Obsidian Conspiracy was released. Tim Calvert, the former guitarist of Nevermore, who played on Neon Dreaming, also passed away a year later. When it comes to the last album, I really enjoy it, but I can't rank it any higher. From the poison, rise to your throne, rise. There are some great riffs with Warrell Dane's vocals, fucking terrific. However, I feel the album is a little short and some songs feel cut off. They need room to breathe. For a progressive metal band, 3 to 4 minute songs are way too brief and it's unacceptable. I would have liked to hear Loomis really display those incredible guitar skills. There are a lot of chuggy riffs on this album. It's a good record, but I don't hold it in high regard compared to their other work. Standout tracks include Emptiness Obstructed and The Maiden Spoke, featuring those awesome guitar solos as well as the heavy Your Poison Throne. The Blue Marble and The New Soul is definitely the softest song they have ever done because most of Nevermore's songs are fucking heavy. Overall, it's a good album but not great, and this would be the last we would ever hear from Nevermore. Nevermore's self-titled album, released in 1995, is a brilliant debut that showcases the band's potential and sets the stage for their future endeavors. The sound reminds me a lot of Sanctuary and where they were heading, incorporating elements from Sanctuary's sophomore album In the Mirror Black, but with a much darker edge. Warrell Dane utilizes the high falsettos we've come to love in his vocals, adding a haunting quality to the music. However, while this is their debut album, it feels as though they haven't quite found their identity or distinct sound yet. Many of the songs are very good, featuring great guitar solos by Jeff Loomis that highlight his exceptional talent. What Tomorrow Knows serves as a brilliant opener for their career, showcasing those soaring falsettos that grab your attention immediately. CBF leans into a doomier sort of sound, and many tracks feature a mid-paced tempo that packs a punch. The solos throughout the album are impressive and add depth to the overall experience. Sanity Assassin is amazing with that chorus. Garden of Grey and Timothy Leary stand out as the most melodic songs on the record, showcasing a different side of the band. The most haunting song would be The Hurting Words, slow, melancholic. The album concludes with God Money, which wraps up the experience nicely. Overall, this is a very solid debut album, although it leans more towards the sound of Sanctuary, which is not a bad thing. It bears a closer resemblance to The Mirror Black than to what we would later identify as a distinct Nevermore sound. Nevertheless, I love it for what it is. The album features many progressive elements, but to me it feels like they haven't fully developed their unique style yet, something they would achieve in their subsequent albums. This debut album may not perfectly encapsulate their later identity, but it certainly lays a strong foundation for what was to come. Dreaming Neon Black, released in 1999, is a hard-hitting album filled with emotionally charged songs thanks to Warrell Dane's powerful vocals. I feel so hollow. His voice is infused with anger throughout the album. There are some meaty riffs, and this release is completely different from the sophomore album. The third album features softer and slower moments, including a hint of flamenco guitar in the song Destruction. The guitar work is fantastic and the production highlights the drums beautifully. This album has really grown on me, and Tim Calvert's on guitars on this, who tragically passed away the year after Warrell Dane passed away. This album has really grown on me over the years since I discovered Nevermore. The riffs are infectious at times, and there are standout tracks like Beyond Within and Dreaming Neon Black, which starts off slow before building to a powerful climax. Deconstruction delivers a hard-hitting experience, while The Lotus Eater offers a slow melancholic vibe that seamlessly bleeds into Poison God Machine, which is a fucking heavy song. The latter features an infectious guitar solo, and Warrell employs those famous high-pitched falsettos towards the end, reminiscent of his Sanctuary days. All Play Dead showcases a frantic guitar solo that will blow you away. Unfortunately, the last few songs don't resonate with me as much, and the final track, Forever, claims to be 9 minutes long, but it's really only 2.5 minutes of music followed by over 6 minutes of silence before a dialogue begins. Are you fucking serious? This album is a concept piece, and the story is quite straightforward. It's focusing on a man who gradually descends into madness after losing a woman he was deeply connected to. The songs illustrate his progressive levels of insanity as he navigates various emotional phases, experiencing denial and self-blame, shifting to blaming God, and ultimately renouncing his beliefs. The conclusion is poignant, tinged and with a tragedy and a sense of melancholy. Overall, it's a very good album. The Politics of Ecstasy, released in 1996, marks a significant evolution for Nevermore. This album follows their fantastic EP, In Memory, which features some outstanding tracks that set the stage for what was to come. With The Politics of Ecstasy, Nevermore refines their sound and begins to solidify their fucking identity, resulting in a truly fantastic album. This release is much darker than the debut, showcasing a more chaotic and intense atmosphere. The guitar solos are exceptional, filled with frenetic energy, and the band explores odd time signatures that add to the complexity of the music. Warrell Dane's vocals also undergo a transformation on this album. He incorporates harsher vocal styles, moving away from the famous falsettos he was known for in their earlier work. The guitar work by Jeff Loomis and Pat O'Brien, who soon was going to Cannibal Corpse, is nothing short of fantastic. The tones are heavily distorted, giving the guitars an industrial edge that complements the overall mood of the album. The Politics of Ecstasy is hypnotic, featuring great riffs and chaotic guitar work that truly highlight the progressive side of Nevermore. Tracks like Passenger offer a slow, melancholic experience, but the climax is incredibly rewarding. This sacrament delivers a heavy metal riff that is both powerful and memorable. The scaling guitar work and breakdown in Lost are particularly impressive, showcasing the band's technical prowess, and that groovy riff in 4-2-1-4-7. If that doesn't get your head banging, I don't know what will. One of the standout tracks, The Learning, approaches 10 minutes in length and serves as one of the band's first epics. It begins softly and somberly, but gradually builds up with thunderous fucking drums and eclectic guitar work, creating a captivating crescendo. Overall, I really enjoy this album. Most of the songs range from very good to great, making a significant step forward in Nevermore's discography. This godless endeavor, released in 2005, is a heavy melodic album where every song is warranted. Warrell Dane sounds absolutely fantastic, supported by stunning, emotionally driven guitar solos by Jeff Loomis. The production is great overall, making it a much better album than Enemies of Reality. I love how prominent Jim Shepard's bass is on this album. There are some fantastic tracks such as emotionally charged Sentient 6, featuring Warrell's soaring vocals and unique vocal tones, as well as heavy, hard-hitting songs like Born and Final Product. My Acid Words boast infectious, groovy riffs and solos. Sell My Heart for Stone serves as a power ballad with great vocals. I love the clean guitar work in this one, along with the solos throughout the end. Great melodies make it one of my favorites from the album, and goddamn, those fucking riffs in Psalm of Lydia are mouth-watering, with Warrell's vocals shining absolutely fucking brilliantly. Falsettos are incredible. This album is really close to being my number one, but I feel the next album we're going to discuss is slightly better. I think this is probably the heaviest they have ever sounded, in my opinion, especially in the song A Future Uncertain. That track is just fucking insane. Then you had the epic self-titled track featuring fucking choirs in the intro and everything, along with amazing guitar work and terrific emotional vocals by Warrell Dane. Yeah, I'm sticking with my list. I can't really change it now. So this is my second favorite. But my god, it is so close to being my number one. And my number one album for Nevermore, my favorite, is Dead Heart in the Dead World. It was released in 2000. It is a heavy record from Nevermore that showcases the band at their finest. Rural Dane brings back those high-pitched falsettos throughout tracks like We Disintegrate, which features a groovy riff that sets the tone for the album. Much of this record has a compelling groove, making it one of my favourites by the band. I love the eerie atmosphere it creates. It's dark and ominous, although I must admit that the album cover is quite unappealing. It's fucking horrible. There's some most of Nevermore album covers are just atrocious. But anyway, at least the music's amazing. There are some truly heavy songs on this album, such as Inside Four Walls, where the drums are thunderous and commanding. But this time, Pat O'Brien had left the band to join Cannibal Corpse, and it didn't bring in another guitarist, so they became a four-piece band. In fact, he departed before the previous album, Dreaming Neon Black, so I got my timeline a bit mixed up there, ya fucking retard. The ending of Evolution 169 will get stuck in your head with its doomy guitar riffs and Dane's monotonous vocals that transition into like high guttural shrieks. The River Dragon has come nearly blew me away when I first heard it, with mouth-watering solos and intensity that makes the song incredibly heavy. The production on this album is phenomenal, enhancing every aspect of the music. The Heart Collector stands out as a great power ballad, while Engine of Hate features insane guitar scaling that showcases the band's amazing ability. Really, the cover of Sound of Silence completely obliterates Disturbed's wimpy version, as Nevermore makes it their own in a way that is truly powerful and fucking captivating. Holy shit, that's a heavy song. Nevermore has never sounded better, especially amazing tracks like Believe in Nothing that perfectly captures their unique sound and artistic vision. So yeah, that's it for the Nevermore album ranking. They are a fantastic fucking band and a really heavy band for progressive metal. A lot of people say they are power metal. I don't get or see how they are fucking power metal. Their music is a lot heavier than power metal. I would probably just call them progressive heavy metal. So let me know what are your favorite albums by Nevermore in the comments below. It's been fun, and I'll see you in the next one.